Are we going to start? Maybe you start today.
My name is Nikoleta and this is Claudia.
Hi.
And today we're going to be talking about all the short rows that we're going to be doing in the Water Lilies cardigan and pullover. No, it's not cardigan, it's pullover.
Yeah, today we're going to show you the pullover because the person doing the cardigan
Didn't do it.
Yeah, but I have an allergy to it. So, we're going to be talking about short rods. I used to hate short rods. I want to say something a little bit about that. I used to hate them so much. I was always avoiding them, and I always was going to Nikoleta. Can you please do this for me? Or I remember when Cara was in the store, I used to go to Cara and say, can you do this for me? And then I spent my life trying to avoid the short rods. And at some point, I confront the short rods and I made the decision that I actually love short rods, and everything I do and I want to do have to have short rods now. It's nothing better than short rods. Mm-hmm. If you don't have short rods, your sweaters don't have shape. Short rods are really good to shape your shoulder, to make the collar a little bit bigger, to make the back a little bit lower. So it's always going to make your sweater look like way, way nicer. And in some part of this video, after Nikoleta show you the short rods, I'm going to show you two sweaters that I happen to have in here. And I'm going to show you the difference of how a sweater with short rod look and a sweater without short rods. The short rod is really going to make the sweater fit way better on you. Yeah. So don't be scared of it. The technique that we're going to be using for the short rods is the German short rods. It's super easy. It can be a little bit confusing in the beginning, but keep practicing it and get a full understanding of how the short rods get applied. And so then the whole thing become way, way easier. The only short rods I use is Germans. Until I didn't use German short rods, I really didn't like them. I don't know if that's the reason, but I find that when you pick them up, they look way more neat than another ones. And I find them really easy to distinguish the needles, but I don't know because I really didn't really like to use short rods before. So, what do you think, Nikoleta? You've been using a lot of short rods?
Yeah, I mean, I started out like most people start out with the wrap and turn, and I didn't love those as much either. Once I discovered German short rods...
Well, I used it, but I didn't feel
it's not as like fluid for me to use the wrap and turn. So yeah, then I started using German short rows, and they are much easier to like see where you're doing it. And then also when you're joining it together and, you know, making sure everything is one kind of without holes, it's perfectly lined up all the time. For me anyway. It's much easier than wrap and turn, I find.
So I hold on this video doesn't serve just for Water Lily, but serve for all of you to see how you do short rods. Maybe we will just cut the part where we explain the short rods, and we're going to make like a little reel, or I don't know, a short video. And then you can always have that short video and see how you do the short rods. In the beginning, when I was learning, I keep looking at a video. I don't remember which YouTube video what it was, but there's some fantastic people there explaining you how to do these things. And I just keep looking at it and looking at it and looking at it a lot because I forget things really easy. And then I stopped to use my friend Nikoleta to finish the stuff that I don't want to do, or to do the little parts that I didn't want to do. So now if we show you how Nikoleta does the short rods in Water Lily, and hopefully this serves you for more than just for Water Lily. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, so now we're going to show you how to do the short rows on the sweater. I have the pullover. The cardigan's going to be roughly the same, but with different numbers, of course, and slightly different beginning points. So we have our short rows that we're going to be doing on the back. So we have our center back stitch marker here. And essentially we're going to be working towards the sleeve, and then back. We're only going to be working on the very back. And then we're going to completely leave the front alone, and we're going to join it all together. And that way the back is slightly longer than the front. So let's get into the short rows themselves. Okay, so we're at the center back, and we're going to start working towards the sleeve. I have 3 different colored stitch markers in pairs, because I'm going to show you exactly where we're going to be doing I'm going to mark the actual double stitches. These are German short rows. So we're going to start off with knitting 67. Okay, so we've done 67, so that leaves us with pretty much the center of the first sleeve here. We're going to mirror it on the other side from the first sleeve. So this is short row number 1, and what we're going to do with German short rows is you knit to the 67 or whatever it is in your size, and you turn it. So now we're not working it around anymore, we're facing the wrong side, the purl side, and we're going to be working this back section back and forth and leaving the front completely alone. So in order to do this, we're going to slip with yarn. Hold on, let me reorganize myself here. So we're going to slip it. We have the yarn, we're going to slip it purlwise, we have the yarn in the back, and then we're going to take the yarn and bring it all the way over. See how now we're creating that double stitch there? We have 2 stitches here. So we're going to bring that all the way around to the back again, and now this was 1 stitch, and now it's 2, so I'll show you again. This is how it is normally. We've slipped it. We're going to make that double stitch there. And then we're just going to purl. So now that we've purled the next stitch, you can see it looks a little weird, but don't worry about it too much. There it is from the front. Don't worry about it too much. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a stitch marker, and I'm just going to mark that stitch right there so we know exactly where it is. So our green stitch markers will be our first short row. And so now we have to knit to the, oh no, my needle came out. Hold on. Slight crisis. Too much manipulating. Okay, crisis averted. Back to regular scheduling. So we're going to purl to the beginning of the round, that marker right there. And then we're going to go beyond that. Okay, we've made it to the beginning of the round, so we're just going to slip that marker, and now it says to purl 66 for the side. And we're going to end up basically in the middle of the sleeve here, of course. Okay, so we're now on short row number 2. We just completed short row number 2. We're going to turn it. And at first it's going to feel very tight. These first few rows are going to feel very tight, but that's completely normal. We're just trying to accommodate all the new stitches on here. So now we have turned, and we are going to make that double stitch on the knit side now. So we're going to bring the yarn to the front, just like before, and we're going to slip that purlwise, that first stitch. And same idea, we're going to just slip it as tight as you possibly can over top of the needle, and we're going to knit that next stitch. A lot of people find this one a little bit more tricky, but as long as you pull it really tight, you're going to be fine. And we're of course going to mark that so it's really easy to find for our next row. So now we're going to work back to our first short row over here. It's marked by the green marker. And we're going to knit, to 12 stitches before that double stitch. And that's what we call those double stitches. So we're going to just knit all the way across to 12 before. Okay, so now we are 12 stitches from that first short row. So this is going to be short row number 3. We're going to turn it around so we're facing the wrong side again. We're just going to repeat that first step from short row number 1. So again, that is slip that first stitch there, bring the yarn over the needle from the back, make that double stitch there, and purl it. I'm just going to mark that double stitch, the red marker, if it will go in. I'm not sure why that was such a struggle, but it was, but now it's on there nice and secure. So now we're going to purl all the way to 12 stitches before short row number 2. So this will be short row number 4. We're going to slip the beginning of the round marker as we come to it, of course. Okay, we're doing short row number 4 now. We'll turn it around. We're on the right side. As you can see, markers are your friend here because it's easier to count. So we're going to slip that stitch with the yarn in front. And bring the yarn over the back really tight and knit that next stitch. I'm just going to mark that guy there too. And we're almost done. And as you can start to see, it's getting a little bit slanted. So we have more stitches in the back than the front, obviously. So you can add more or less short rows depending on your preference. More, obviously, if you want to dip lower, and less if you don't want to dip so much. And you're going to find the right amount for your body type. Everyone's different, so feel free to play around with it. But if it's your first time, I always recommend doing whatever the pattern says. So we're going to work to 14 stitches. This is going to be short row number 5. I'm going to work to 14 stitches before the last one, which is the red here. Okay, we are 14 stitches from the red marker. This is short row number 5. We're going to turn, just like always. Slip the next stitch with yarn in the front. And push it all the way over and pull really tight. And then purl. We're going to mark that stitch, that double stitch. Okay, and same idea, we're going to purl to 14 stitches before that short row number 4. Okay, we are 14 stitches from the last short row. So short row number 6, which is the last short row for this size. Same thing, we're going to turn to the right side. We're going to slip that stitch with your in front and then pull really hard over the needle. And we have our final short row number 6. So we're going to mark that. So that's it for the short rows for this size. And I think the first 3 sizes are just those 6 short rows. All the other sizes, you're going to repeat rows 5 and 6 of the short rows until it tells you not to. I think it's either 1 time or 2 times more, depending on what size you're doing. So that's it for setting them up. But now we need to close them all up. As you can see, there's going to be a little bit of a gap like there. There's a little bit of gap there. So we need to close all those gaps up. So to do that, we're going to knit to the beginning of the round. We're basically going to be knitting to the first stitch marker, which is the first short row, or I guess short row number 6, the latest short row, because they come in as we're working more, they come closer and closer to the beginning of the round. So at the beginning of the round now, we're just going to slip that, and we're going to work to the first double stitch there, which is going to be short row number 6. We're going to take that marker off there. And same thing, we're going to knit them together as if they're one, making sure we get both legs there. And there we go. And on to the next one. And the next one, so we're going to take that one off. And same thing, we're going to knit those 2 together. And then we're going to go all the way, we're going to knit all the way around until we hit that first marker again. And then we're going to basically do the same thing with a slight twist to close up the other short rows from the purl side, I guess the knit side.
As promised, I'm going to show you how the short rods make your sweater look better. This is a sweater that is called Clara, and maybe we show you one picture there right now. And this is my Clara because I really like blue. Blue is my favorite color, so my Clara is blue. And I want to show you that the short rods have been put here in the neck. Maybe we can put the camera closer to the sweater, and I'm going to show you that I want to put the camera closer to the sweater, then I can show you here. This sweater have placed in 2 places short rods, in the neck and here in the shoulders. So if you see here, this is higher, this is lower, and this is the effect of the short rods. Look, the short rods that went all the way down here, and that make this part go higher and this part go lower. This was the first set of short rods. So then the second set of short rods was done in here, and that was before we separate the sweater. Before we did the sleeves and the body and separate them, when everything was a joke, just this part. So I put some short rods starting in the middle of the sleeve, and I think I did like about 3 short rods in here, like 3 in each side, so that means 6 short rods. And I went from here, around to here, and then around to here, and around to here, and then again ended in the back with the very last short rods like around here. So if you notice, these short rods give a little bit of more hanging to the sweater in the back, and therefore the sweater is a little bit longer in the back without doing the short rods and here in the end, because if you do the short rods here in the end, it look more like that, and I didn't want that. I wanted to be very discreet short rods in the back. So this sweater, I think the shape is fantastic thanks to that few short rods that we use to shape it. Hi, now I have here the oldest sweater I ever make. This is my first pattern. The reason why it's here today in my house is because I was doing a little change of buttons and I was adding some kind of like little band to the buttons. I'm putting like a little bigger buttons because these mini were too small. But it's going to serve me a very good purpose today to show you why this sweater could have done better if I have done short rods, and I shouldn't have been so scared to make them. So this sweater is beautiful, and I think the pattern is going to be modified soon if you're interested in making it. And I'm gonna add short rods to different parts of the sweater. I'm gonna add short rods to the neck, and I'm going to add short rods to the here to the shoulders before I divide it in the body. So as you see this sweater, maybe we can look at closer. I want to show it to you closer.
Hold on. What part do you want me to look at?
The sweater. So this
Hold
sweater.
on. Okay.
So this sweater, as you see, doesn't have any difference between either side of the neck, no? Like the front and the neck is exactly the same size, so the sweater is less shape, and the sweater is exactly the same size in the end too, because wasn't any short rods added to the sweater. Again, if I were going to modify this, and I will modify because I still find this sweater adorable, I really like it. I will do short rods in the neck to raise the neck a little bit, then make it look like that, like more shape. I would add few short rods here from the shoulders, then make your shoulders nicer, and then that is gonna give a little bit of an effect down here without doing short rods. I don't wanna do short rods here, but by doing the ones in the shoulder, this is going to be like this. It's gonna move, the bottom is gonna be a little bit longer, and so I think the short rods would give a better effect to my older sweater. The name of this sweater is Clara. What's the name of this sweater, Clara?
Claudita.
Oh, I'm sorry. The name of the sweater was Claudita, and it's the name of my daughter, and I forgot. I'm gonna get an angry reaction of that. But here it is, the sweater. And so I think short rods could make a way better sweater. And again, it's named Claudita. You can check it in our website or in Ravelry, and I'm going to add the short rods to this sweater because it's gonna make a better garment. By this, I must say something about this sweater. I have this sweater for probably about 9 years, and the sweater is still in pretty good condition. I don't know, 9 years, 8 years. I don't really remember the date. But anyways, this is Claudita. Hi, I'm going to do an explanation in paper of how the short rods work. I hope that my drawings don't offend you, but I think that may help you to clarify or understand the effect better. I try to explain it in the sweater, but I'm going to do it in the paper. Maybe I get the camera closer and I'm going to do my funny drawing and try to guide you through the effect and the mirror that I have to exist between the short rods. The effect that is in one side exactly the same as in the other side. At least for the neck and for the shoulders, for places that you want them to look equal. So maybe we get the camera a little closer and I can show you. So I try to do a little drawing here. Forgive me, as this is the neck because the drawing is not perfect, but the idea, I hope it help you. So I draw here the neck. This is the neck opening, and what we want is, this is the front, and this is the back of the sweater. And what we want is to get an effect here where it's higher in the back. So like we say in the sweater, higher in the back, no? So this is our back and it's gonna be a little higher here. So I put my first short rod here, number 1, and then from short rod number 1, I go to short rod number 2, and it's gonna be placed exactly in the same position that short rod number 1 was placed. And then from number 2, I'm gonna go back to short number 3, but I'm gonna probably need like about 5 or 6 stitches here, and I'm gonna go to number 3, and from number 3, I'm gonna go directly to number 4, and then from number 4, I'm gonna go to number 5, and again, it's gonna be like probably 6 or 5 stitches here. It all depends how much deeper I wanna make it. So I'm gonna go from 5 to 6, and then I'm just gonna go back and pick all of them up, but that's another point. But I just want to repeat this again, and now I'm gonna do the same drawing again with you, then we have more clear understanding of what is happening with the placing of the stitches on the neck. So again, this is my little neck hole. This is my front. This is my back. And I'm gonna put my first short rod here. And from number 1, I'm gonna go to number 2. It has to be about the same distance. I mean, here it's gonna be exact numbers, no? And in here. So from number 2, I'm gonna go to number 3. And number 3 is gonna be in here. And then from number 3, I'm gonna go to number 4. And I have to be about the same distance there. That's gonna be my number 4. And then I'm gonna do number 5. I'm gonna go back. And number 5 is gonna be here. And then from number 5, I'm gonna go back to number 6. So here is 6 short rods in total, but it's 3 in the right side and 3 in the left side. And again, what we're gonna get out of this is we're going to raise the back. That's all we do in there. So I hope that this help you to understand a little bit better the effect and how we place the short rods and the short rods on the neck of the sweater. Now I have an explanation of how to place them in the shoulders. So all of this is get done before we divide our sweater into sleeves, front and back. So this is gonna be our neck, this, where you put your head. And this is gonna be the whole yoke before we divide it into sleeves. Oh my God, look like a neck. Before we divide it into sleeves and front and back. But this is gonna be our front, and this is gonna be our back. And this is gonna be our sleeves. Sleeves, imagine that this is exactly proportional. No, it's not like my drawing, and it's not very proportional, but the proportions that have to be exact. So I just want to place probably 3 short rods. I don't remember how many we placed in water lilies. 3? So 6. It's 6, but it's actually 3. 3 in this side, 3 in this side. So let's say that we're starting here with number 1 short rod. Maybe we're gonna start here, then we have more space down there. No? So we're gonna go number 1, and we're gonna go here. Number 1 short rod is gonna take us to number 2 short rod. And from number 2 short rod, we're gonna go to number 3 short rod. And that's gonna take us to number 4 short rod. And then from number 4, we're going to go to number 5 here. And just back here is gonna be number 6. So this would be 5, would be 4, this would be 3. So the line that you see here, these little differences, is because you don't get all the way to the short rod. From number 1, you went number 1 to number 2, but then when you go back number 3, you don't get all the way to number 2. You stop before, and usually they're going to tell you how many stitches before your first short rod or your second short rod. In this case, let's say that we need 5, and so that's the difference here. These gaps in here is the stitches that we need to get to the next short rod. I hope that the explanation was clear. I hope that it helped you. I hope that this made you a little bit more secure to place your own short rods to give a little bit more shape to your sweater. Thank you, and have a very good weekend.